This is the Yay or Nay Show with Alex C. A sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. And now, here is Alex C.
Okay, here we go. It is the Yay or Nay Show. It is a sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. Of course, I am the sports fan doing the sports show. For those of you who'd like to check us out anywhere you stream your favorite podcast, you can now do so. We are available on every single platform that is out there. It took a while to get it done, but my guys tell me we have it done now. So you now can find us anywhere you would like to enjoy your favorite podcast. For those of you who listen to the podcast who'd like to check out the video cast, you can check us out on Instagram. We are at Yay_Nay Podcast. You can check us out on Facebook and Twitter at Yay or Nay Podcast. And of course, you could become part of our Twitch family. Search for Yay or Nay Show. All right, today, NFC West, arguably the most competitive and probably the best division in the NFL. I know. There are some of you that are going to try and say, no, it's the NFC East with the Dallas Cowboys. But no, you guys are sadly mistaken, not to mention dreaming. It is not the Dallas Cowboys division that is the toughest in football. All right, so let's get right into this. We're going to start with the San Francisco 49ers. Game number one, I predicted the 49ers would beat the Lions. Obviously, they did very handily, might I add. This week, they've got the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia looked good, but let's be honest, they looked good against the Atlanta Falcons, a team that I said nobody knows who they're going to be. I think we discovered now after week one who they are going to be. So I'm not necessarily impressed with Philadelphia. I do believe they are much better than I said they were going to be, since I didn't say they were going to be much. However, I'm not throwing all my weight behind them to be a force to reckon with when all they've done so far is beat Atlanta. They will get a good measure of who they are when they play San Francisco, but they're going to lose, and they're probably going to lose pretty handily. Green Bay, a team that's an absolute dumpster fire. Aaron Rodgers has thrown in the towel, folks. It's obvious. I'm going to say what nobody else will say in the national media, and of course, as always, they will then come back and join me later on down the road like they always do. But I believe the 49ers will easily get past Green Bay. And even if Aaron Rodgers was all in, it wouldn't matter. Green Bay is that B-rated team who looks great until they play an A-rated team. Seattle Seahawks, going to be a tough one. I believe in the Seahawks. I absolutely do. However, I also believe that the 49ers will get past the Seahawks, so I'll give them the victory. The Cardinals, I get it. They won this week. Look, it was Tennessee, all right? Nobody expects Tennessee to make the playoffs this year. Yes, they expect Tennessee to win some games. Yes, they expected Tennessee to be a little more competitive. But as I said, you can't go by what teams did last year. Last year showed you nothing, no fans in the stands. A lot of players opted out because of COVID. And again, nobody was playing at their 100% best because, again, no fans in the stands. Games were nothing but glorified scrimmages. Arizona Cardinals week 5 will be yet another victory for the 49ers. It will be tough because, not because the Cardinals are tough, but because division games in the NFC West are typically tough. This game will be no exception. Indianapolis Colts. Look, I saw what the Seahawks did to them. I think the 49ers will do the exact same. I chalk that up to a victory. Definitely chalk up week 8. With or without Justin Fields, chalk up week 8 to a victory for the 49ers. Cardinals, week 9. Another tough game. But I think this is the year where the 49ers will have the Cardinals number and take 2 in a row. So I have the 49ers getting past the Cardinals. The Rams, a tough one. I'm going to say this is where they're going to take a split. I believe this series in the regular season is going to be a split. I'll give the Rams a victory in the first game. Jacksonville, a victory. Minnesota, a victory. Seattle, I said it was going to be a split. I have them losing the first game, so they will win week 13. Cincinnati, another victory. Atlanta, a victory. Tennessee, a victory. The Texans, a victory. The Rams, another potential split. So I will go ahead and give the Rams the victory. That makes the 49ers 15-2. Cardinals, Tennessee, a victory. An unexpected victory. I did have the Cardinals losing that game. However, obviously they did not lose. They won. So I was a little bit surprised, but I did have the Cardinals losing that game, so I'm still going to mark them down for a loss on that since we're talking about my predictions, not about what happened. Minnesota, upcoming game, week number 2. It's going to be a tough game, a good game, but I believe that Minnesota defense is going to give Arizona all they can handle. I believe Kirk Cousins and the boys can give the Cardinals a loss, so I'm going to go ahead and give them the loss. Jacksonville, that's a victory. The Rams, I think this one will be a split. I really do. I think the Cardinals can split with the Rams, so I will give the Rams game number 1. 49ers is a loss. Then they move on to the Cleveland Browns. That's a loss. Then they move on to Houston Texans. That's a win. Green Bay Packers, that's going to be a win. Again, I'm putting no faith in the Packers. It's going to be a loss the following week to the 49ers. Carolina Panthers, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a hard-fought game. I am going to give that victory to the Cardinals. Seattle Seahawks. In this one, I am going to give probably both of the games to Seattle against the Cardinals. I don't think the Cardinals are ready to compete with the Seahawks as of yet. They will get past the Bears. Again, I said they split with the Rams. I had them losing the first game. They'll win the second game against the Rams. They will beat the Lions. They will beat the Colts. Cowboys, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a hard-fought game. I am going to give a slight advantage to the Cowboys in this game. Seattle, I'm going to give the Seattle Seahawks the victory in this game. And that's going to do it. So what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what we have is 9 losses, and we have, what are we looking at? 8 and 9 is what I have the Cardinals at. For them to do better than that, they're going to have to seriously play some contentious football. I don't know that they have the ability to do it. All right, the LA Rams, here we go. I had them predicted to beat Chicago, and they did. They will beat Indianapolis. They will beat Tampa Bay. They will split with Arizona, but I give them the victory over Arizona in the first of the 2. I believe they will split against Seattle, but I'm going to give them the victory in the first meeting. Then they get New York. That's a victory. Then they get Detroit. That's a victory. Then they get Houston. That's a victory. Then they get Tennessee. That's a victory. Then they go against the 49ers. I believe this game against the 49ers will be a loss for LA. Then they're going to go against Green Bay. That's going to be a victory. Jacksonville, a victory. Arizona, again, I said this would be a split, so I'm going to go ahead and give Arizona the victory there. Seattle. Man, this is tough. Do they split? Do they win both? Do they lose both? I gave Seattle the victory in the first match. I'm going to give the Rams the victory in the second match. Minnesota, I think that's a win. Baltimore, well, that's a win. San Francisco, I said it would be a split, so I'm going to go ahead and give them a split. Guess what? That makes the Rams 15-2 also. Crazy. Seattle. Let's move on to Seattle, see what we get here. NFC West, I'm telling you, folks, toughest division in football. Indianapolis, I predicted a victory over Indy. They got the victory over Indy. They're going to get a victory over Tennessee. They move on to Minnesota. They're going to get a victory. San Francisco. Woo! I'm going to say it's going to be a split. I'll give Seattle the loss in the first matchup. Then they're going to go up against the LA Chargers. They're going to get a victory. Pittsburgh Steelers. Oof, tough. But you know what? Big Ben and the boys might get that done. I'm going to give it to Big Ben and the boys. I was not a believer in Pittsburgh at first. I might have been wrong and might have to rethink my drink on that one. New Orleans Saints. Wow, I think they're too much for Seattle. I really do. I'm going to give New Orleans the victory there. Jacksonville, they're going to get the win. Green Bay, they're going to get the win. Arizona, they're going to get the win. Then they go to Washington. They're going to get the win. Then they got to get San Francisco. And I gave them a loss on the first one, and I'm going to give them a victory on the second one. Houston, they get a win. Then they got L.A. I don't know, man. We talking about, let me just triple check real quick. All right, L.A., are they going to get a win? Is it going to be a split? I believe earlier I said it was going to get a split. I gave them the victory. So here I will give them the loss. Chicago, they got a win. Detroit, a win. Arizona, a win. Folks, that makes Seattle 14-3. So we've got Arizona at 8-9. San Francisco and LA at 15-2, and Seattle at 14-3. All right. That's crazy. So they're going to split with LA. They're going to split with San Francisco. And then the other loss they're going to take is Pittsburgh. That is going to be one tough division. Imagine what that's going to do and look like in the playoffs. Absolutely crazy. Okay, so one of the other things really quickly that I wanted to talk about as well was you got to look at knee-jerk reactions, okay? Yesterday we talked about some of the things that happened, what I saw, some of my takeaways from week one, right? And then in this division, there's a team known as the Arizona Cardinals, and everybody's talking about, oh, they're going to be a contender. I won't be surprised if they win 13 games. And, of course, that's national media. And then you got local media. Of course, they got them going to the Super Bowl, and they're, singing the praises and doing all the stuff they do. And it's just how the local media out here is. They react to everything. But the big thing to me is, look, there's a couple of things I don't think the national media has taken into account. First of all, the defense looked good, but again, it was against Tennessee. Let's slow your roll. The game was against Tennessee. It's not like they beat anybody formidable, okay? Now, one could make the argument that you could say the same thing about the San Francisco 49ers, except you, number one, expected San Francisco to win and win handily, and they did. They took their foot off the gas in the end, but the 49ers did what was expected, and they're expected to be a team that's battling for the playoffs. So there is a difference when you're talking about the 49ers and the Cardinals. So now let's revert back to the Cardinals. So you got a victory. It was against Tennessee. Again, don't know why everybody's jumping down. It was Tennessee. Defense looks stout. But again, against Tennessee, but they do have big name defenders over the hill, right? Overpaid, but nonetheless, they've got named marquee defenders. But let's move on to the offensive side of the ball, because this is where the conversation is missing. Kyler Murray, everybody wants to talk about how great he looked and how great he did. He did. Everybody wants to talk about, is this Cliff Kingsbury's redemption year? Is he finally showing you what he has the ability to do as an NFL coach? And you got all of these national guys falling in love with Cliff Kingsbury. Almost all. There's a few that are smart to say the air raid is garbage. It's never going to work. It hasn't worked in college, and it's not going to work in the NFL. And then you got guys, local guys, who are saying, well, but he's making adaptations. He's changing the face of the air raid. He's adapting to the NFL game. No, he's not. This is where the NFL announcers are getting it wrong. And this is where the local guys are getting it wrong. They're getting it wrong because the conversation you're forgetting to have is, Kyler Murray, did he look great? Yeah. But it was Kyler Murray who looked great, not Cliff Kingsbury. Why am I saying this? It's real simple. Kyler Murray, who threw for 4 touchdowns and ran for 1 more, was making moves on a lot of broken plays. You had guys who were doing the scramble drill. You got guys who were broken plays. Line got blown up. He's running for his life. He's scrambling. He's bouncing 10 yards back and then 1 step forward to throw the ball as far as he can to reach his receivers on bombs. He is moving and scrambling, and he's getting chased, and he's running for his life. Does that sound like an offensive scheme to you? Does that sound like these were plays that were designed by Cliff Kingsbury? If you look at the plays, do they look like something that somebody drew up and said, you got to scramble this way? Oh, no, then go that way. Oh, then turn around and go this way? Because your offensive line is getting blown up, which is another thing that these guys aren't talking about, national or local. That offensive line was getting blown up. Again, Kyler was running most of the time for his life. Running. He wasn't standing back there with all day. He was having to move and run constantly. He was always on the move. Sometimes he was in the pocket, sure, but for the most part, look at where he was. Look at where he's throwing from. Look at how he was on his back foot throwing the ball. Those aren't design plays. You guys are giving Cliff Kingsbury credit for something he didn't do. What he did was get bailed out by a quarterback named Kyler Murray. That's what happened. Kyler Murray bailed him out. But I assure you, when some of these losses that are coming, and they are coming, and then when people go back and look at not only the Tennessee games, but obviously the games where the Cardinals are going to lose, they won't be singing the praises of Cliff Kingsbury anymore. Remember, Cliff's on the hot seat, and he's not going to get off the hot seat because just because you win a couple of games, and even if you win a couple of games impressively, you don't make the playoffs and make some kind of a run, I predict Cliff's out of here. And he should. And so should the general manager. They can't pick players. They can't pick coaches. And they put all this faith in all these players who are over the hill, and they overpay them because they're not paying them prime money, but they're overpaying over the hill guys who are beaten and battered, and other teams weren't going to get into a bidding war for them because now they're just a name. They are a shell of what they used to be as a player. So those are the kinds of players that the Cardinals pick up. But once this season's over, once you guys see by midseason what the Cardinals actually in fact are and how bad that offense in fact actually is, but you do got great receivers, but it's just not going to work. Air raid doesn't work. Coaching doesn't work. I don't think Kyler Murray works. I think he's a B quarterback. You can win games, but if you want to go to the promised land, if you want to get to the Super Bowl, you're going to have to upgrade from Kyler Murray. I just believe that wholeheartedly and honestly, and it has nothing to do with the fact that I'm a 49ers fan. It's just what I see. You're going to have to upgrade from Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's good. He's flashy. He's exciting. But he's not going to take you deep in the playoffs. That's just my assessment. But again, it's funny to watch all these overreactions. Philadelphia's falling in love with Jalen Hurts. And again, when they lose, they're going to be a good team. They're going to be a 500 team. They're going to have some exciting games. They're going to make some noise. But Jalen Hurts probably is in the same class as Kyler Murray. He's fun. He's flashy. But he's not going to be good enough to lead Philadelphia to the promised land either. They're going to have to make a quarterback change. And the coaching staff already knew that. That's why they made the comments they made before the season started. And Jalen's going to work hard, and he's going to play hard. And again, he's going to be flashy. He's going to be exciting. But again, they're going to come up short, and they're going to have to make a tough decision. And that tough decision more than likely is going to be they're going to have to move off of Jalen Hurts. Just like Miami is already looking to move off of Tua. Why? He's fun. He's flashy. He's got a name. He won a national championship in college. But again, he's not going to be good enough to lead Miami to the promised land. So they're going to have to make the tough decision, and they're going to have to make a change. Look, quarterbacks who are too small, who are flashy and fast, but too small and can't take hits, and when they're mobile and then they get injured like Kyler Murray did last year, and he probably will again this year because he can't take the hits, they're not guys who can get you to the promised land, folks. If they're too small, they're just too small. That's just the way it is. The NFL is too fast, too rugged, too tough, and you've got to have a durable quarterback, like a B-rated quarterback with a name like Dak Prescott. While he's not an A, he's a B, but he's durable, and he's always available, and he doesn't get injured very often. That's what you need. Preferably, you'd want a quarterback who wins more games. You know, unlike Dak Prescott, he doesn't really win a lot of games, but you still nonetheless want a durable quarterback like that. So just my assessment, just what I'm saying. A lot of knee-jerk reactions, a lot of people going crazy. It's only week one. I say, look, you'll know what you really have by week 6 or week 7. That really, to me, is what it takes to make a real assessment of your teams, of your quarterbacks, of your roster, of your general manager, and of your coaches. Just my opinion. Again, I'm not an insider. I'm a sports fan doing a sports show for sports fans. All right, with that being said, that's going to do it for me. I am on my way out the door. You guys have a great day, and we will talk tomorrow.